kept cueing me. It's a short song, but it's lovely. All right. So, and just like that, quick as an Easter bunny, April is behind us. But the good news is that spring is all around us. Emily Dickinson wrote, in May, witness nature's resilience as it dares to blossom. Now, it may take a while in Michigan for spring to get here and dare to blossom. But when it does, it's a beautiful arrival. And we've got a whole month ahead of us to just see all the ways it arrives in all its beauty. And since May is a time for us to plant seeds in our garden, it seems like the perfect time for us to consider how our mind is like a garden. And our thoughts are like seeds that we plant within it. And as we focus on certain thought seeds in our mind, we nurture them by giving them our creative power. And we cause them to grow into forms and experiences and expressions in our life in this world. They grow into the quality of our health. They grow into the nature of our relationships and our encounters with others. They grow into the shape of our finances. They grow into all the conditions and circumstances and happenings that we experience in this thing we call our life. In the way of the heart, we read, know the fruit you experience is the result of the seeds you plant in your own consciousness. Know that you cannot help but experience the result, the fruit of the seeds you plant. Nothing bursts forth on the vine of your experience by accident. So the first question this morning is, how does your garden grow? Does it grow in love and peace and joy and well-being and fill your life with an abundance of good things, an abundance of good experiences, so that you feel loved and supported and supplied and cared for by life and the source of existence? Or does it seem that things do pop up accidentally in your garden of life? Like unwanted and unexpected weeds. And that no matter how hard you try to and work to make your garden grow lush, it still seems undernourished and lacking. In a course of love, we read, since your personal self was always meant to represent the truth of who you are, the seeds of who you are planted there, right within the self you have always been. There is a garden within us that is planted with seeds of endless beauty and joy. Seeds that are intended to grow eternally as our own individual garden of self-expression. That inner planting of truth within us seems to be what the Garden of Eden represents in the biblical story, of Adam and Eve. In the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve were only conscious of good. They were only aware of the good all around them. Everything was theirs. Whatever they desired in any moment was there for them. It was a great life. It was good and holy and beautiful. And yet they had no self-awareness. They didn't know if they were naked or had clothes on. They weren't aware of themselves, and being aware of themselves was important. Because they were, as all of us are, created by the Creator with an undeniable and irresistible urge to express themselves, to become more and more, to create more and more, and expand the garden of creation forever. That's what they were created to do. We're told in the way of knowing that the divine seeds within us are imbued with our Creator's idea of us as eternal extenders of creation. Creatons. And all that's required of us is to allow the divine seeds of our true self to grow in our mind. We read in the way of knowing, take my fruit and plant it in your consciousness. Know that you are one with me, and create with me, my child. By knowing that you are a creator, a farmer, a planter. And you will indeed harvest the quality of the seeds that you plant, just as you, beloved child, are the harvest of the seed I once planted when first I held the thought of you in my holy mind. And in that moment, you arose as a sunbeam from the sun, made in my image. I held you as the thought of love in form. And I bestowed you with all good things. Therefore, see yourself as I see you. Embrace yourself as I embrace you. Accept yourself as you are, a creator, creating without ceasing. In order for us, God's creation, to create uniquely as ourselves, we needed to become aware from the beginning of our power of choice, so that our preferences, individual preferences, could be made manifest as our self-expression, as our one-of-a-kind garden in all of creation. And in order to do that, to use our power of choice, we needed some contrast to choose between. And so it was that in the beginning, following the urge to go forth and multiply and to create without ceasing, that in the beginning we ate the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That was a good thing. which is to say, we became aware of contrast so that we could express ourselves in this world of duality. So that we could harvest the seeds we plant. So that we could grow and expand in good and holy and beautiful ways. That's the purpose. That's what we're intended to do. And so we needed to know what we didn't want in order to know what we did want, so that we could create a unique self-expression in God's kingdom. And by now, most of us are really clear about what we don't like and what we don't want. We've lived a while, and we know for sure what we don't want. But are we as sure? Are we clear about what we do want? Do we see and feel the reality of the good that we've asked for, that we want, that we desire, that our life has shown us, that awaits our allowing? Do we feel its presence? So often we're so focused on the unwanted. We see it everywhere. We see it on the news. We experience it. And we're focused on that, or we're focused on the lack of what we want. It hasn't arrived yet. That we don't live in the vibration that would allow the lushness of our inner garden, the one that's just full of great seeds, to grow here in our human experience. Abraham tells a story about Esther and Jerry Hicks. Now, and it was early in their relationship, their vibrational relationship with Abraham. And they were living on 40 acres of land in Texas, and there was a drought. And they were sitting on the front porch and looking at the dry, dusty landscape and all the wilting things around them, and they were bummed. And so they asked Abraham to make it rain. They figured that should be pretty easy for infinite intelligence, everywhere present. Make it rain. But Abraham asked them why they wanted the rain. And they didn't want us to be rude and say, duh. And so they said, well, the ground is parched, and the critters are thirsty, and all the vegetation is dying. And Abraham said, you're describing the drought. Why do you want the rain? What is the rain like? And so they described the way the rain smelled as it fell on the ground, and how it sounded on the roof and when it hit the trees. And they described how the critters were happily scurrying around and drinking the rainwater, and how the rain's moisture felt on their own skin, and how the freshness of the rain tasted. And upon their small acreage in Texas, in the middle of a drought, it rained. We're told in the Bible and in many sacred texts, prove me now in this, and I will open up the windows of heaven for you and pour out gifts for you until you say, until you say it is enough. We've got to focus on what we want, to feel it and hear it and taste it and touch it and smell it, even before it manifests, until we're filled with the reality of its presence within us, so that we know it. We know that presence. Nothing's gone wrong with any of our lives. No matter how many wrong choices we think we've made all this time. We needed to know who we weren't in order to want to know who we are. In order to want to become more and more of our true self. To grow as the self God sees. To embrace ourselves as God embraces us. And to accept ourselves as we are. In the way of the heart we read, the way to God can only be found in your willingness to embrace and live fully the very life that is within you and that unfolds through you in each moment. To live without fear, to go forward, to indeed trust and embrace the very power and the majesty that is the seed, the soil, and the ground from which your life's experience is unfolding. It is precious. It is extraordinary. It is blessed, and it is given to you of God. We are still, even as we are aware of this human environment, we are still with God in the Garden of Eden. Because our inner being never left. Only a small part of our spiritual self, our amazing spiritual self, flowed into this human form. This ain't all we got. Within us remains the truth of us. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. The seeds of who we are planted there, right within the self we've always been. Our inner self is only conscious of good. It maintains the perfect soil of non-resistance to our experience of good right where we are as we live in this world. It nurtures our inner garden with the perfect light of its nature, which is our true nature. If we want to partake of the fruit that is hanging low in our beautiful inner Garden of Eden, while we're still here in these physical forms, it can only be done through our willingness to embrace and live fully now. To live this very life that we have. And to let our true self unfold through us with each moment. It can only be done through our willingness to live without fear. To go forward, trusting and embracing the very power and majesty that is the seed, the soil and the ground from which our life is unfolding right now. Right now. There is a garden within us. within each of us. It is precious. It is extraordinary. It is blessed. And it is given to us of God. Namaste. All right. Does it make you want to go home and start tilling the soil? All right. Well, this is a time of our service when we say thank you once more. Thank you for being here. It takes your love and energy first for us to exist. And then, in order for us to have a place to be us, it requires some financial support. And thank you, because I know you do that. And we appreciate that. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate you on live stream, because we know you do too. But if you're new to the broadcast this morning and you don't know how to support us because you're not here in person, and you really want to know because something you heard today touched you in a new place, and you liked where it touched you, and you'd like to do it again, then our treasurer, Dr. Jamie Phillips, is here to tell you how to do that.
Good morning. All right. Thank you so much for that talk. I'm not a gardener, but it almost made me feel like I wanted to do it. Not that much. I'll garden in my head. Indeed. Okay, if you would like to donate to the Life Enrichment Center, and we'd love to have your donations, and you're watching this online, there's several ways you can do it. You can go to facebook.com, where you're probably watching this broadcast, facebook.com/Life Enrichment Center, and there's a donate button on that page. You can go to our website, lecflint.com, where you're also going to be able to find the podcast later this week, and there's a donate button on that page. You can donate via PayPal. Our PayPal email address is lec2512@gmail.com. And then you can also send us a check to our P.O. Box, Life Enrichment Center, P.O. Box 321294, Flint, Michigan 48532. Thanks, Jim. And you're here in the sanctuary. We're going to be taking an offertory while we listen to the beautiful voice of Marcia Allen singing in this very room, followed by a prayer of gratitude from Reverend Stephanie. Thank you.